Well, look who is here today. RIZZ and Troy, part of RIZZ and the Believers. What's up, you guys?
What's happening?
What's going on, Steven? Nice to be here, man. Thank you for having us.
Couldn't be happier to have you, RIZZ and Troy. Honestly, it's been as I said, a wonderful time kind of looking into what you guys have done as you've joined together a while back and how you've gotten to this point. Let's talk right now about the fact that a week ago, this behind me, which is just the beautiful art of the cover of Everyday People, right, came out a week ago. All right.
Bow, bow, bow.
How are you guys feeling about that? We'll talk about how you got together and how this has developed. How do you feel right now, May 17th, after the week thing's been out a week?
Well, I'll just jump in real quick because I just made a post about this from a radio interview we did, right. And just talking about how, you know, this process has been, you know, now 2 years in, just for me being out in Nashville, really creating an original album that's
right.
No samples. You know, he showed me really what goes into making an actual album with real musicians, real instruments, not just anything sampled that you can plug and drop in. And so for me, this is like so cool to get to see all this hard work we've been putting in for years. I mean, me and him go back 5+.
Yes.
But so just get that out there and that anticipation to finally be like, okay, here you go. It feels amazing, man. It's really freeing and really inspiring.
Well, I've read up and it seems like you guys really wanted to get something going together once you met, and we'll talk about how that happened. Right now, this album's out. Talk a little bit about Steve Marcantonio, who mixed it. Him alone behind the scenes was a great thing. And then who else was on this record? I mean, you got Squidly Cole on Can We Go and things like that. Talk about a little bit about the recording of it.
Well, I have a studio. I've had like 5 recording studios over the years, so I've always had a lot of musicians coming in and out.
Nice.
And I was out with Guess Who, and when RIZZ and I were talking about doing this record, I said, look, man, Nashville has some of the best right here. I says, we could knock your record out really quick.
Right.
However, I don't know that would be the record that we want. And, you know, if we're in a hurry to get product out there and we just want to knock something out there, it might have been a good choice.
Right.
If we really want to get at the bottom of the mountain, climb Mount Everest and really go for it, you know, it says we can start and building this thing, you know, with one song, one musician at a time.
Sure.
And see if we could find the right group of players that fit into this thing, because I've always been in bands.
Right.
And something very unique and special about, you know, being in a band that has chemistry.
Totally.
And chemistry is hard to find, especially in creating a sound and creating a group of musicians that are like-minded, that want the same thing.
Right.
And I already knew what he wanted, but he really didn't even know what he wanted.
Right.
But what I mean by that is it was such a new world for him.
Sure.
that I'm introducing him to, and now he's got to kind of trust on some of my instincts. And, you know, bottom line is like, RIZZ, man, you know, this is all about you, and, you know, whatever you think, you have the bottom line. And he just clicked with everybody that I was bringing in, and the music and such, and the people. And we just started kind of, you know, nailing it out, you know, one song at a time. We got in here, I dragged him out here 2 years ago, short story, and we just got busy. And the sound that you hear, right, and the musicians and everything, it just happened organically. It wasn't like premeditated or planned. It was just with all the you know, just all the universe just kind of coming together. So
was it an intended? I saw Don't Stop Tryin', you guys. I saw the video of it. I saw you perform it on the Nashville channel, I believe your television appearance, right? You did Don't Stop Tryin'. It's a wonderful job. RIZZ, you do a great job singing that wonderful reggae rock feel to it. Was this the intention with RIZZ and the Believers, to make that the genre of music, or did it just morph into each other?
Well, you know, it just kind of morphed because of the backgrounds of what it was. you know, I started more hip hop, but then I found myself in that reggae realm, and just for my lifestyle and what I love in life, you know, it's just the people, the community, and kind of when I was getting into the reggae music, so I found myself getting into that. And so I had already a lot of work done in that realm, and then coming into, you know, us meeting and where he comes from, that blend naturally happened. I never anticipated that. I mean, I loved listening to The Doors and Journey and Red Hot Chili Peppers from when my parents would play. That's about as far as I dove into that scene. I really did not know of Tesla and his background before we had met. And so once we got together, still didn't know, because it's like, even some people were like, oh, I'm moving out to Nashville. Like, what are you doing that? Like, you know, you're a hippie. Why are you going to Nashville to make a reggae music in Nashville? That makes no sense. So luckily this is Music City, and there's, you know, music is music, right? And so you can blend it. If it's good, if it feels good, it feels good. And so just, you know, it just kind of happened that way. And Peter Keys has some background, you know, with George Clinton and, you know, P-Funk, and then you have Salaway, who has some history in the reggae realm as well as Devin. So there was still a little bit of influences on their back end, so they kind of knew a little bit of what they wanted or what the project wanted. But no, man, it just kind of blended that way. And I know for him especially, he had, you know, besides probably hearing Bob Marley's name, he had no idea. And so it was cool for us to kind of learn and blend these worlds together, you know.
What up, Jay? Yeah, I'm just pulling up the PGP right now. We're getting ready to shoot the Don't Stop Tryin music video. Haha. Yeah, you already know what it is, man. All right, well, I'm gonna make sure these guys are ready to rock. Love you too. Bye.
Don't stop trying. No, you are better. No, you are better. Got heart like a lion. Yeah, 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 yeah. I said, don't stop trying. No, you are better. No, you are better. Got heart like a lion. Yeah, 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 yeah. I feel the rhythm inside my soul. I know I'ma make it as time goes on and on and on. And find a way, make your life how you want it to be. I tell the demons, step aside, we got no time for feeling low. Might as well give it all you got, you never know when you'll be gone. Spend my time reciting lines, cause that is what I love. Yeah. Don't stop trying. No, you are better. No, you are better. Got heart like a lion. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got the feeling we don't need it, just a little more love. More love. I got the feeling we don't need it, just a little more love. So open up your mind, try to see both ways. We all think different, but we want the same thing. Worry free, like for everything is okay. Happily with my family out here trying to make it change. I've been trying to live it right, being nice to everyone I'm around. Yeah, reaching down my hand to pick you up from the ground. I can't stand to see you down. We all been close to falling. Can see it in your eyes. Yeah, you are a soldier. Come on, don't stop trying. No, you are better. No, you are better. Got heart like a lion. Yeah, 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 yeah. Keep moving forward and don't look back. We've all got a future, can't live in the past. Try to focus on the present, use the gifts that you were given. Make your life how you want it to be. We cannot rewind this time, we got just one take. So I'm taking the risk instead of playing it safe. Got the power inside, yeah, to change what you need. So I wake up every day with a smile on my face, singing, don't stop trying. No, you are better. No, you are better. Got heart like a lion. Yeah, 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 yeah. Don't stop trying. No, you are better. No, you are better. Got heart like a lion. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got a feeling we all need just a little more love. More love.
Yeah, I love the feel of it, and I'm really going to be excited to see how where this goes to from the EP and then on as you guys play live and things like that. Let's talk obviously a little bit about this band. Not only you two wonderful guys, again, Troy with your amazing history too, and Riz, what you did leading into this, kind of creating your own musical, journey forward until, and then boom, this happened. Peter Keys, all right. Saw Lynyrd Skynyrd 3 months before the plane crash in 1977. I was a huge fan in high school. It was different after the plane crashed, but guys like Peter and they really created a way to keep it going. How did he join RIZZ and the Believers?
Peter's here in Nashville. I'm here in Nashville. And we were talking, him and I have been going back and forth talking about getting together on different projects. And we played, jamming some clubs and whatnot. And one day we were talking. Oh, I know what it was.
Give It a Go.
We have a song called "Give It a Go,"
Right.
and it's got this whole big jam. You'll
Yes.
find out that we are a jam band too that you'll get into later. You'll learn more about that.
I love
We have
that.
this song, and I go, man, the whole the outro of this song reminds me of Freebird. I go, it's just this killer music and a jam, and I go, and yeah, right. So I'm like,
Yeah.
hey man, wait a minute, I'm gonna call Peter, man.
Yeah.
I'll get Peter. And that's kind of what prompted the call. Because we all him and I
Wow.
have been talking.
How do you think I felt about that?
I
It's
know.
like, oh, this does kind of have a free bird. Why don't we get Peter? And I was like, what is happening?
I
Are you
know.
serious? And
And-
what, 2 days later, Peter's over here and he's like, man, I'm down. Let's do it.
Yeah, he
Oh,
came over, he met, he
spectacular.
listened to all the music that we were doing. He
Love
goes,
Peter,
man.
man.
He goes, I hear it, I get it. He goes, I'm a huge fan of Bob Marley, and he sat behind the keyboard player.
Oh,
And he
wow.
spent all this time, and he really knew right when I heard him, because what we had prior to Peter coming in, we had some pedal steel, lap steel. We tried some different instruments,
Right.
and it all sounded great. And Smith Curry, he came in, killed it, man. All the stuff he played was fantastic. Great session guy. He's played with Kid Rock and all kinds of people. And
Wow.
I'm like, shoot, that stuff is phenomenal. But after you spend a little time with it, you're just going, okay, well, that's really great. But
Sure.
let's see what else we got. Once Peter came in, man, that took care of it, and we just decided to go that route with
Well,
keyboards.
yeah, I mean, a guy that takes over for Billy Powell, who was
Yeah, right.
originally a roadie with Skynyrd, and then was added in to be the central part of the band too, playing, and then Peter Keys, Michael Devin from Whitesnake too. I mean, come on, the
Yeah.
bass get maestro. He's called in some of your descriptions. How did he jump in to the band?
Last year, I did 35 shows. I think it was 33, maybe it was, with the Guess Who.
Yeah, that's
And,
unbelievable.
yeah, so I went out and did that. The original drummer, I just went and filled in for Gary Peterson.
Sure, I was going to ask
Yeah.
how much. They have some original people still with Guess Who?
Just Gary was the last one, and when I was out there, it's kind of like the Foreigner thing,
Yeah, kind of like the
they-
Skynyrd thing these days.
Yeah, right. I
That's
mean, it's all about the brand. It just
It's
shows
about
you
the
what-
music. Yep.
Yeah,
About the music.
it's about the music and the brand, and the legacy continues. So,
Right.
basically, he was out there. He's in a band called the Dead Daisies right now.
Oh,
But he went out to do that, and at the end of that, we'd been playing together, and I've always been a fan of his. Love his playing,
wow.
and so here I end up playing with him in a Guess Who. We connect on a lot of different levels, and I played him the RIZZ stuff, man, and he totally dug it. He came over, he recorded, he met RIZZ, and that went fantastic. And before he left to go do the Dead Daisies, he said to me, he put me aside. He goes, hey man, he goes, I just want you to know, he says, he goes, I don't want to lose the RIZZ project. I don't want to lose the RIZZ thing. And I says, man, that spoke volumes to me. And I says, you know what? It's yours until you tell me it's not.
Oh, wow. These people,
And
these
that's
guys.
they believe, man. It's about him.
Well,
And
these,
we all believers,
you got these guys and veterans and guys in bands and things like that. And what I'm seeing too is the appeal, Riz, you have for people coming into this experience. And it seems like, along with Troy's amazing experience too, as a motivator, it seems like you two together have created an impetus for people to want to come in. Michael Staetrow is from with the,
Staetrow.
he's playing with Lou Gramm.
He spent 10 years with Lou, yeah.
Oh wow, that's unbelievable. And then John Salaway is also a guitarist that's Grammy considered, as it said. So Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah, multi-talent. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all these guys could be producers, engineer. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all their own thing. You know,
Yeah.
everybody has their own brand, and that's what was cool about creating this Believers was like we're all kind of, you know, collectively we can create something even more special because we're more powerful together than apart. So
Yes.
it was cool to see because I've always, from my background, man, making music was just writing lyrics to music. I would
Sure.
just write raps and write rhymes and do vocals. And I had my own studio where I was basically just, when I say I had my own studio, I had a vocal booth that I pressed record and I just recorded for years, man. That's
Right.
That's what making music or a mixtape or an album was to me, was just recording vocals.
Right.
So then I step into Nashville and it's like, you know, and when we met, he's like, so who's playing the bass and who's doing this? And I'm like, they're just production beats that I'm grabbing.
He would
License track, you know? And he's like, no, man, like I'm confused. And I'm like, what do you mean? And so at the beginning, it was a complete, you know, not disconnect, but different worlds. He's like, let me show you how to make a record, you know? And that was like, I'm watching this whole tracking experience and having the players come in one by one and getting to, you know, play a line. And then I'd be like, ooh, I like that. And like, oh, I can play it this way. And it's obviously it's limitless. All right. But
right.
it was just cool.
It was all about, I mean, because what he had, these licensed tracks of where he'd go get his music. I mean, if you heard this stuff, he didn't need any of the Believers. The stuff was that good. Seriously.
Wow.
I mean,
Well,
he had it going on, really going on. The only problem with what was going on is they were licensed tracks and anybody could license them. And now you got this music everywhere. And so that only gave me the opportunity and to say, hey, well, we have to re-record these tracks.
Yep.
Right. So this would be the road. Why don't we create something new and unique and different? And I don't want to use any tracks. I want real players, you know, and we can dive into this stuff. There's no samples, drum samples on the record. Everything's organic.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
You know?
That's
it's being played, you know, and that's the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, to keep the music that way, you know, we'll use some of the technology that's out there and I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
But the goal for the record was to let's see if we can get it to 2 guitars, bass and drums and keyboards.
Yes.
And that's what it's built on.
Yes.
You know?
And you talk about uniting musical genres together,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
keeps popping up on your website and things like that, like you were talking about. Also, there is a percussionist fellow that comes into the band often, and I think he's your son, Troy, right?
He's the whole reason we're together.
Yeah.
It started with my son and RIZZ. My son had a surgery back before COVID. And
Oh my
he
gosh.
he had a brain tumor and they had to go in and pull a tumor out behind his ear, took his ear off. And while all that was going down, I flew out to spend 3 weeks with him, and RIZZ has taken him out of the hospital, got him upstairs, was kind of taking care of him.
Yeah.
And
Really?
I got into town and I didn't know anything about him. And my son's got this tri-level, walk in through the garage to go upstairs to meet up with my boy. And he's in the garage waking up on an air mattress. And then I learned that my son's producing him. And then
I wasn't just homeless.
Yeah. yeah.
I don't just sleep in people's garages on air mattresses for no reason, Steven. Okay.
Right.
We got to make that clear.
Right. Well, this was an advantageous way to sleep on
Sacrifice.
this had an advantage. to
Yeah,
you.
exactly. If you're going to do it for the right reason.
Right. Right.
So I just kind of jumped in, and my son said, "Hey, Pops, can you help me out? Give me some drums, short story," because it's kind of a long story, but we just plowed through those 3 weeks. We ended up with almost 5 songs we finished.
About an EP
which
out
is
there.
actually, Don't Stop Tryin was the first thing we worked on.
And
My
Ups and Downs was in that too, so.
Yeah, Ups and Downs. My son had recorded, produced all of the vocals and a lot of that work there. So what I did with those original tracks, I just muted all the music, and I started over on the music.
Oh my
And then we
God.
built it from there. And now my son, and I are working this, and this is every bit a part of him, you know, as it is myself. So.
Well, look,
Yeah.
you know, what I'm seeing so far again is just individual wonders and wonderful times for both of you on this. You know, again, Troy, your career has been like this and going along for many, many years, huge bands and playing, and then you found this amazing experience going forward. And RIZZ, you know, your career was ascending in a younger fashion, and boom, you guys have meshed, and then you got your son involved. I'm telling you, there's some wonderful things as well as the music that is interacted in this. Going back real quickly about how you two began your lives in music. I know, you know, RIZZ, you were in a Mexican family. I love this, from a makeshift recording studio in your family's Reno garage to Bob Marley's legendary studio in Jamaica. What was your early influence in the musical world?
You know, it's funny, like, besides like my uncle's a drummer actually, and you know, my grandmother would sing us songs, you know, growing up to put us to sleep. But it's not like, you know, I came from a traditional like musical family where everybody had instruments and we sat around playing. Like,
Right.
it never really was that. So for me, my influences was all from my older brother, you know, what he was listening to and just like being around that. And so obviously, you know, growing up in the 90s, it was all hip hop for me. And so I wanted to be a rapper. And I remember my grandma like, Mijo, what are you going to be when you grow up? And I'm like, I'm going to be a rapper. And she's like, you're going to be the best rapper. And I'll never forget that because she don't know what that is, you know?
Right.
And so that was really for me. It's like, you know, I started out with my friends, light them up music. We would make mixtapes. We passed them out. And I was just posting about this today. Like, we'd have my buddy DJ Cuddy, and he would come by and he would play us all friends instrumental tracks. And it was Freestyle Fridays, and you couldn't pass on the beat that was given to you. He would just click random beats. And there was 4 of us, and we would just go around. And the people started to hear about these kids making music in their garage because my parents let it happen.
Wow.
And it was like, either I'm out doing who knows what on the streets, or I'm going to be in my house making music with my friends rapping.
Oh,
so
man,
that's like really, you know, for me where it started. And then as we got older and friends went to college, I remember sitting my dad down one day and I said, Dad, I don't want to go to college. I couldn't figure out how to sign up for college. So I knew it wasn't for me. And I was like, seriously, I went to sign up and I couldn't figure it out. I was like, go to this office, go here. No, man, this ain't for me. I can't even figure out how to sign up. So I was like, Dad, I just want to do music. He said, whatever you do, all I ask is you put everything into it and you'll get far. And so that was kind of my background. So again, I've learned more in this past 2 years on a musical level than I ever have in my entire life, because this has been more of an actual education process of like the music side. I always had the, you know, the melody and the message and kind of just having a fun with that part. But like music side and the originality, mind blowing.
Totally. And Nashville, RIZZ, had to be a completely amazing thing to do, and maybe you didn't ever expect that would be your next step. It really is something. I mean, all of the hundreds of musicians I've interviewed, from again local ones to world famous ones, Nashville just always pops up. And you know, I've got dear friends who are around here who write and go down to Nashville. Stacy Wiedelitz, who I just had on, who wrote the song with Patrick Swayze for Dirty Dancing, is a big part down there. And he moved there when he didn't expect to either. So that is wonderful. I love that Nashville has become part of you. It seems like it was a great move, as we chatted about a minute ago.
Yeah, it really was. The people, you know, being around it, I think it's helped me in a really big way of being around these guys and knowing them on a personal level. I was just talking to a friend and saying like a lot of these people I would have not even felt worthy of being around, or would have felt nervous just being like, oh God, that guy's is in Lynyrd Skynyrd or this or that. But luckily, because of Troy, I've met them on a personal level, and it's kind of upped my self-confidence, because I realize we're all everyday people. And that was what I loved, that we came up with that title, and I think all the stars, the famous people, they can probably attest, you know, to that. It's like, man, you know, your idols, you think they're this like magical people, and it's like, we're just people.
Yes.
And that's the beauty, I think, more than a lot of this is that we've got to connect and learn and grow on a personal level.
Yes.
And
Well-
just get to experience that.
Yeah, that is. And again, things that start in your youth really often take you throughout your life. And that's wonderful that you were able to have that. Troy, you started playing drums at 10, which is a pretty young age. Influenced, right? What I read up was Mitch Mitchell.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix experience. Not a bad drummer.
Yeah, right. I spent a lot of time, my brothers, with my mom's and my brothers and my sister's records, and my mom was in the whole Motown thing. So I had a little cassette. I would run around and a radio, and I would just run around. I remember playing that music, and then
Perfect.
my brother had, the Zeppelin, and he had Black Sabbath, Paranoid. I remember that. And
Well, I love the fact that you were influenced by Bonham. I had his sister Deborah Bonham on Living on Music about a
nice.
year ago. Amazing lady, great blues singer, which I never really even knew. I never even knew she existed for a long time. And we talked about her brother, obviously, and he had a reputation to a lot of fans of being a big drinker and having alcohol issues on tour, and then dying early because of a lot. He just missed his family and pounded too much. And he was a great brother, by the way, according to Deborah, to her, influenced her music. You mentioned the reason I thought of this, you had Mitch Mitchell. One day she was 10 or 12 years old. He went to a pub, so he did sip a little, but he said, I'll be back in a little while. She's in the house looking through all of his albums and pulling ones out. And he gets back, and she had pulled out a Jimi Hendrix record, and he went and he grabbed that aisle of whatever it was, live music thing, and played it for her. And again, I'm only bringing this up because Bonham was an influence of you, and he really was an influence on his sister and a lot of people. And I love that he was an influence to you. You had people like Neil Diamond, who was my mother's favorite. We saw him in 1977 in Forest Hills. I love the influences. So it seems like a neat cross section of music that was building who Troy was.
Yeah, as a player, I've been really blessed. I have a Doris Day record, and her last record that I'm on, and then I went to Keith Emerson's last record.
Wait a minute, did you Doris Day?
Yeah,
that is amazing. Oh my God, that is that. See, look at the versatility of Troy.
You probably remember Frida Payne.
Yeah,
she hit Band of Gold. I did a record in 01 with her, and I did the late Keith Emerson with the LP. We went to Germany in full orchestra, and I recorded a lot of that old. I've always been into. I just wanted to be a good drummer. And I never believed I was anything people thought of me. And when I was getting these calls to do certain things, and I'd be, people see things in you you don't see in yourself. And I have a friend of mine, Mark Bonilla, who blessed me with I did his records, and that's how I ended up Keith, because he was the MD. So, and then I'm playing with, Steve Porcaro, and I'm playing with all these wonderful Lukather, and getting a chance to sit and play and do. They had a radio show, the Mark and Brian show in Los Angeles, a big Christmas show every year. I did 4 years of house band with that, with an just incredible lot. So I got a lot of experience, and I always wanted to be able to kind of be able to do that. And I didn't even know. I mean, it was through Mark Bonilla, who saw it all in me and believed in me. I would have never called me. I would have been calling the guys that are called for that stuff, right?
Right.
But I didn't even know it was there.
Sure.
Quite honestly. And when he asked me to do his record, which I told him, I go, dude, you need to go find a real drummer after I heard some of the stuff on that record.
Wow.
And he goes, man, I just like the way you hit, man. And I said, all right, well, I'll give it a shot. And I got together with him for a couple hours. We went over the challenging stuff and all the odd, weird stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah. And I did it. So it's just a blessing.
No, it's fabulous. And it also shows what again, I've talked to a lot of folks that are at your stages of your career, Troy, and for you to find this next move it just has to feel like a wonderful deal, especially with RIZZ.
Wow. For me, where I'm at in my life, I don't have no desire to do anything else. This is it. I've always been in bands. I'm committed. I'm a relationship guy. I like relationships, and I'm committed. When I say I'm in, and I'm all the way in. And when I was doing the Guess Who, I realized, that I was on that path of being available, which is fine, and it was great, and I'm grateful. Great experience, killer band, all of it was wonderful. But it was at that time where I came home and I told Riz, I said, I let the guys know. I said, I got to commit to this thing,
Right.
you know, and I had to get where we're at.
Yeah.
There was no way around it, and it's where I want to be. The music is, that's a lyric of yours.
Yeah.
It
But-
takes a lot,
But
though.
it really does. It takes
Yeah.
a village. It's a lot of work. We're built like we're at the bottom of Mount Everest and we're climbing, man. We got a few steps into it, and I'm okay with it. Like I was mentioning this morning, if it's just us in the van cruising around doing what we're doing, that's fine, man. I love this music so much. I've been blessed to do the wonderful, great things and love Tesla. And thank you for the wonderful career. Love the guys. No
Right.
animosity.
Sure.
It's cool, man. You know, I'm in a good place. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I know that for a fact because the good Lord brought us together for a greater purpose. He has a program called Make 'Em Smile.
Yes, he does.
really good, and I have my Troy Shows Up program. And we got plans for the whole school thing. It's much bigger than the music. It's a movement.
The movement.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about. The Make 'Em Smile was something you did a while back. When did that start, Riz?
I'm coming up on year 10 this year, actually. So this will be the 10th annual Make 'Em Smile toy drive that I do in my hometown, Reno, Nevada. And so that was just an outlet for me to give back to people in my community and do what I love, kind of like bridging those worlds. And, you know, I've always kind of just been a community and entrepreneur kind of mind because my parents own their companies and just watching that. So, you know, and being from a small town, the biggest little city, right? You kind of, you know, I just love my community. So I would have like my friends' clothing companies or like local companies all sponsor the raffle. So it's like a complete local event that was local performers, local companies to sponsor the raffle. And then it goes back to local charities in town to give back to what, you know, Domestic Violence Resource Center. We worked with the Eddie House. Recently teamed up with Ashley's Toy Closet, who just, once I found Ashley's Toy Closet and she already has her whole thing implemented where she knows exactly where the gifts go. And, you know, she fills a full truck.
Right.
And you know, does her thing. I learned like my part was just to put on the show, and then I could take all the gifts and give them to her, and then she disperses. And we just gave a bunch of bikes and stuff to one of the local elementary schools so they can help with like attendance. Perfect. You know, the kids get more bikes if they, you know, if they get perfect attendance, they can win a bike or something. So
yes,
that's kind of the Make 'Em Smile thing. And then Troy goes, and he's the good example of a bad example, and gets to talk about his past and his history and shows up to the schools, which I've kind of done some schools talking about positive mentality and mindset. And, you know, and so we're now working towards building a program together where it's kind of like just talking about our lives and, you know, don't stop trying, you know,
right.
Yeah, just being positive and sharing with the kids, you know. I mean, I didn't do well in school. I didn't graduate. And I left in the middle of my senior year to go play music, and I was blessed to do that. And I've been, you know, again, I've been fortunate. It's a tough road. It's a lottery ticket, man. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's very challenging in the business. But so with that being said, and with the things that I've learned what not to do. I'm 30 years sober, so that's the message I bring. I come and I talk about, you know, the pitfalls in life, and you know, I never felt, you know, that I was good enough. I never ever believed any of that. So it took time and hard work and perseverance, and I always say yes. So Troy Shows Up is a part of Just Show Up, because I'd always show up. I would say yes, and then I'd be like, oh my God, what did I just say yes to? Now I'm freaking out. Thinking, can I do this? Keith Emerson is a perfect one story is that, but that was my whole life. I felt everything I was doing in my life. Seemed like I was always saying yes to so much that was challenging me, that I was always nervous and, you know, inside, and never really felt like I just keep fooling these people. Right. I show up and I play, and the next thing I know, they actually think I'm pretty good. So, you know,
he's okay. Don't let him get ahead of you now, Steven. He's all right.
Right. No, I love
it's really true. I mean, it's not a sense of humbleness. It's not. It's just how I felt growing up. So I tried to bring that message to the kids and just say, look, man, you know, you can do this too. You know, it's okay. And, you know, if your parents, you know, if you come from divorced families, you know, so did I. It wasn't your fault. You know, all these different things, you know. So we just go through. a lot of stuff, and you just talk openly. I don't have some big giant script that keeps me on script. Who knows where I'm going? I'm ADHD, so I took that as always dedicated, highly determined.
Yeah,
Yes.
baby.
Yep. Yep.
Rebrand it, you know, don't put the negative, give me the positive, man. Let's do this. We could do this together.
I had
And
a,
that's-
I
Don't
That's what
stop
we're doing.
trying.
I had an ADHD son, and he's 28 and kicking ass in a life. So,
Right.
so thank God for that. It's funny. I just had on Living on Music Annie Ray, who was the recent Grammy winner for the Music Educator Award. And it was an
Wow.
amazing get from her. Not only did she meet and get hugged by people like Taylor Swift and Meryl Streep and Oprah Winfrey and these amazing people there, but she is just an incredible woman who just puts music in a forefront for children, and not only kids in the high school where she teaches, but also kids with special needs. She's created a whole crescendo program for kids to come in, and you know they're going through a lot, but they're learning music, and music is what gets us all together. You two have found this bond with this, and it just sounds like a wonderful ride. And I really hope that going forward, you have Everyday People out a week ago. That's going forward. Don't Stop Trying is cranking along, you know, again, as kind of the main musical single, but other things are out there with your EP. What is in the coming months, et cetera, for RIZZ and the Believers?
We've probably got a half a dozen things we're looking at in July. We're just getting started. We're going to take the
Right.
next 6 to 8 weeks building into July, 6 weeks, I guess it is, to get. We have so much to build upon because we're building an in-ear system. We're getting our tracks. We're just starting to rehearse the guys. So we've got 4 of us here in town, and Peter, but Peter's availability is off and on right now. Then we have our bass player, Michael, who's going to have a lot of free time.
Right.
And so we're just we're getting it all together so we can get out there and get out and start playing shows.
Oh, it sounds great. And
we want to hook up on some tours, of course.
yeah, I mean, it really, really sounds like a wonderful thing to go forth with and see where you go with it. But you're starting in a wonderful spot, it seems, with the two of you getting together, getting a wonderful group of people playing, and again, using your different kind of contributions to this band together already. So congratulations on the meetup, and I wish you the best of luck. I'm going to follow RIZZ and the Believers and see, you know, what's going on. Are there any live music coming your way?
Yeah, we got, what is it? I think it's June 20th. We're doing a festival out here
No,
in
it's
Tennessee.
July. We've got the 18th possibly in the City Winery, possibly in Nashville, and then we're going
Fun.
to do 20th, which is a festival in July. The July 3rd, I've got like a private party here we
Yeah.
do. And then there's last night we're going to do a few things here in Nashville. So we got probably about a half a dozen things.
Yeah, there's
For
a
the month
couple of
July.
places, couple of things to do in Nashville musically.
Yeah. so we're just
Couple
gonna-
places to play.
I think they got a couple music venues down here. We're gonna go ask if we could play.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
remember walking at night, visiting there. We did an RUV trip where we visited all the top Southern music towns like Nashville, Memphis, Athens, Georgia, with all the, you know, the music that came out of there, the alternative stuff like REM and everything. We went to Macon and I got to see the Allman Brothers Big House, which was one of my favorite things I've
nice.
ever done. Tupelo for Elvis, but all those kinds of things, you know, meshed into Nashville. And we walked at night. I mean, I've seen a lot of gig places, but oh my God, every 5 feet you have bands playing.
Three levels.
Yeah, it must be a wonderful vibe though for people, you know, like you with musical in your soul.
Yeah, it's the energy around here is really cool because there's always something happening, and musically, I mean, it's everywhere. So
No shortage of
no
great
shortage of
players.
great, the best talent. Like,
Yeah.
you'll see a great show, and then you walk out into the waiting room, and there's like another great performer, and then you walk out of the building, and on the street, there's another great performer. You're like, the dude on the street could be the guy that just headlined the
Right.
show you paid $50 for. And
Right.
so it's actually humbling because you just see like, wow, the talent is
Yeah. It's you know, it just keeps
things in
it keeps the
perspective.
bar height. It does keep the things in perspective. And sometimes, you know, we don't get focused on what is or what isn't out there. We're just doing our own thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've been creating it as we go. You know, we haven't talked about a guy named David Brainerd, who's the co-producer and writer of some of these songs that we've
Nice.
been working with. And he's He's plugged in, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with like Jamie Johnson.
Yes.
You know, he produced the first Jamie record. He produced a Lynyrd.
Wow.
These are on records he produced along with a Jared Neiman record and Brandy Clark. He was nominated for 3 Grammys on that. So we've got a great, you know, Steve Marcantonio. I mean, forget about it. I mean,
yeah.
this is our team. And I mean, we got a killer football team.
Yeah.
Right.
We're like the Patriots right now.
Blue 42, blue 42. Yeah. Well, I'm
This
a
is our
Raider.
Bill Belichick. Yeah.
I'm a Raiders fan, and we haven't won the Super Bowl since I was 24 years old, and I'm 63. So
I'm from Oakland, San Leandro, Hayward. That's where I'm from.
Nice.
So,
Hey, I'm
you know,
sorry, it's not
Daryl
it's Steiner
LaMonica.
gang over here.
Daryl LaMonica. He came to my house.
Oh
My dad made these Raider shields, and he would and Jim Otto and he ended up coming to our house. I got pictures. You know who Exodus is?
Yeah.
So Steven Souza, the singer, lived right across the street, grew up with me. There's a picture of Steven and I with Daryl LaMonica throwing the football. And we're like 10, 11, 12 years old. I don't even know how old we were. Seriously.
Wow. We might need that picture to show on the show, so I can be.
I have it. I can get it to you.
I can be so smiling from that. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fabulous. He kind of got me into it as a little boy, and then I fell in love with Ken Stabler, and years later met him out here in Chantilly, Virginia, with Fred Bolitnikoff and Jim Otto, and it's still that, you know, it's like meeting Tom Seaver as a Met fan. I mean, we could talk about sports.
Those are the Raiders. Those are the Raiders that we grew up with.
I wish they were still in Oakland.
And it's very different. You know, and I mean, I think the Raiders are like Metallica. You know, it's freaking. If you're a Raider fan, you're a Metallica fan. There's nobody else. I mean, it's all about Metallica. It's all about the Raiders. You know, and we love Metallica, and we love the Raiders. You know?
Yes,
That's so true.
It's been a great ride, but we haven't reached anything, so I'm just hoping. But anyway, I'm wishing you both the best. I want to keep in touch. Everybody, Everyday People is the new record from RIZZ and the Believers. It's RIZZ and the Believers, I believe.com, right? Is the greatest place to find your whole world. And
we're on all platforms, man.
Oh, good. I figured, and I'll be playing and sharing the music and with the Living on Music Nation too. But thanks very much for being on Living on Music with me, you guys.
Thank you for having.
Thanks for having us. We had a great time with you, man.
Yeah, it was really wonderful, and we'll be in touch.
All righty, man. Have a beautiful day.
Thanks.
Peace.